People would have laughed at you if you had told them a decade ago that they could study anything they wanted for free. The internet has made it easier than ever to learn just about anything you want. So with all this content and courses available, how did you know which ones to learn from and which ones actually work? Luckily for you, Real Talker, we've produced a list of the 10 best and most profitable online free courses available right now. Remember that while the first step is completing any of these amazing courses, the second and possibly more important step is taking action, even if it's imperfect action. Let's dive headfirst into that list. The student housing provider announced on Tuesday that Blackstone will buy it for $12.8 billion, including debt, as the world's largest alternative asset manager wagers on rent rising after colleges reopen. Arizona State University and the University of Texas at Austin are among ACC's 166 assets spread in 71 university markets. The all-cash deal's per-share price is $65.47, about 14% higher than ACC's previous stock close. In pre-market trading on Tuesday, shares of the Austin, Texas-based company jumped nearly 13% to $64.84. The agreement comes months after Jonathan Litt's activist investment firm, Land and Buildings, applied for a seat on ACC's board of directors, urging the corporation to aggressively sell assets and buy back stock. Due to cheap cash flow from low interest rates, a strong U.S. housing market, and an economic rebound from the pandemic, M&A activity in the Real Estate Investment Trust, or REIT, industry hit a record high in 2021. According to real estate services company JLL, REIT and M&A transaction volumes increased to $140 billion in 2021 from $17 billion the previous year. Blackstone Real Estate Income Trust Incorporated and Blackstone Property Partners will take ACC private, according to the company. In a separate real estate bet, Blackstone agreed to buy Blue Rock Residential Growth (REIT) for $3.6 billion in December. With an agreement to buy student housing operator American Campus Communities Incorporated for $12.8 billion, Blackstone Incorporated is betting big on U.S. real estate. The all-cash sale is the Blackstone Real Estate Income Trust's largest student housing deal. The $97 billion firm, known as Bright for short, invested in the industry last year in a $784 million joint venture with Landmark Properties. As the pandemic reshapes where Americans work and live, New York-based Blackstone has been scooping up all kinds of housing assets in the United States, which, combined with low borrowing costs and supply constraints, has driven a boom in property values across the country and led to the sharpest monthly rent increases in decades. Since its inception in 2017, Bright has established itself as a major player in the real estate market. It agreed to pay $5.8 billion for apartment owner Preferred Apartment Communities Incorporated earlier this year. It also bought Home Partners of America, Inc., a single-family home rental company, for $6 billion last year. American Campus Communities, or ACC, has a best-in-class portfolio and platform, built on long-standing relationships with some of the most distinguished and fastest-growing universities in the country. Jacob Werner, Blackstone's co-head of America's acquisitions, said in a statement last Tuesday. At 9:52 a.m., shares of American Campus, based in Austin, Texas, were up 12.7% to $64.91 in the city of New York, according to Bright's most recent fact sheet. Residential property accounts for more than half of its assets, with about 20% of its real estate located in Las Vegas and Atlanta. Blackstone's wider foray into the U.S. housing market comes as investors keep a careful eye on the industry for indications of cooling, with 30-year mortgage rates hitting 5% for the first time since 2011. Potential homebuyers signaled dismay over elevated rates on top of record high prices in a survey released this week by the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. Private equity firms believe that private student housing complexes will outperform apartments and other residential assets in terms of returns. Dormitory rates can be changed every year, which acts as an inflation hedge. Along with other Blackstone perpetual capital firms, Bright is investing in American Campus Communities Incorporated. These funds have no set timeframe for exciting bets, indicating that the corporation is moving away from its old strategy of buying properties and selling them to a wealthy buyer. The industry responds. While we are excited for ACC and believe there won't be a topping bid, we are saddened to see the last public student housing rate leave rate land given our enthusiasm for the sector, says Alexander Goldfarb, Managing Director at Piper Sandler & Co. The unfortunate part for ACC is that it became too easy for dedicated investors to not own it, given it was one-off and its small index weighting. ACC isn't alone, Goldfarb writes, as we believe one-off rates in general have a tougher threshold to thrive than those with public counterparts. Additionally, ACC's years of dilutive capital events, along with the annual pre-leasing exercise, are unlikely to have helped. However, we expect to see more public student housing in the future, as it provides investors with a different cash flow profile than other residential categories. The greater point is that additional rates with similar NAV discounts are likely to look into privatizations, especially given the surge in NTRs. The announcement did not surprise Randy Churchay, the former CEO of EDR, which was acquired by Greystar Real Estate Partners in 2018. He explains Blackstone has been a highly aggressive purchaser in all real estate sectors, including student housing. They continue to raise enormous sums of money and have to be a continuous investor. This acquisition continues a trend of niche real estate sectors like student housing being acquired by long-term private real estate holders. Student housing is a very attractive and stable asset class. These acquisitions by large real estate funds represent a large percentage of the student housing transactions, but a small percentage of their fund transactions, and I expect it to continue. The acquisition, according to Avi Lewites, Chief Investment Officer at the Scion Group, is yet another important support of the student housing business by institutional investors. The student housing sector has demonstrated its resiliency through the COVID-19 pandemic and prior economic cycles, and is now benefiting from the convergence of some of the strongest macro trends we've seen, including increased enrollments at top-tier universities, reduced new supply, higher occupancies, and strong rental rate growth, he says. It's hardly surprising then that Blackstone wants additional exposure to the industry. This is in line with the influx of new private capital entrants into the sector over the last few years. We've seen growing interest from large institutional investors seeking entry to the student housing industry at scale since our initial student housing investment in 2006. Further reinforcing a basic premise we've been investing behind since our start, he says. We expect continued long-term interest in the student housing sector as a result of its demonstrated resilience in the face of black swan events, such as the COVID-19 pandemic and the global financial crisis. The importance students and families place on in one-person learning and its stability relative to more traditional asset classes like office and retail, says the report. But what is American Campus Communities, or ACC? American Campus Communities Incorporated is the largest owner, manager, and developer of high-quality student housing communities in the United States. The company is a fully integrated, self-managed, and self-administered equity real estate investment trust, or REIT, with expertise in the design, finance, development, construction, management, and operational management of student housing properties. As of December 31, 2021, American Campus Communities owned 166 student housing properties containing approximately 111,900 beds, including its owned and third-party managed properties. ACC's total managed portfolio consisted of 203 properties with approximately 140,900 beds. Austin-based student housing provider ACC is being snatched up by New York investment firm Blackstone in a deal valued at over $13 billion, making it one of the largest purchases of a Central Texas company ever. American Campus Communities offers a best-in-class portfolio and platform founded on strong connections with some of the country's most prestigious and fastest-growing universities, said Jacob Werner, co-head of Blackstone's America's Acquisitions. The all-cash deal's per share price is $65.45, about 14% more than American Campus's last stock close. The board of directors of American Campus has approved the deal, which is anticipated to finalize in the third quarter. Private equity firms believe that private student housing complexes will outperform apartments and other residential assets in terms of returns. Dormitory rates can be changed every year, which acts as an inflation hedge. The American Campus Communities named one of America's most trusted companies by Newsweek. ACC won the number 2 spot on this prestigious new rating as one of just 13 real estate-related companies on the list. Based on a comprehensive approach to evaluating trust that takes into account the 3 primary touchpoints of customer, investor, and staff trust. Newsweek and Statista Incorporated, the world's biggest statistics portal and industry rating provider, are presenting it. Earning and maintaining the trust of investors, university partners, employees, and our student residents has always been a key focus of our success, said Bill Bayless, CEO at American Campus Communities. This recognition is a statement that our core value to always do the right thing has resonated well with all of our stakeholders as we have strived for nearly 30 years to conduct ourselves and our business with the highest levels of integrity and a commitment to excellence. An independent poll based on a sample of about 50,000 U.S. people found America's most trusted companies, with a total of 110,000 assessments received, resulting in a ranking of the top 400 most trusted companies across 22 industries. In recent years, particularly through the pandemic, trust has taken on more meaning for the businesses than just square dealing and avoiding scandal, writes Nancy Cooper, Global Editor-in-Chief, Newsweek, in her cover letter announcing the list. Consumers, employers, and investors are increasingly demanding proof that a company shares their beliefs and values before they join. ACC has a long history of being a leader in corporate social responsibility and sustainability. It's also known as a wonderful place to work, having been certified for the 3rd year by Great Place to Work, based on what current workers have to say about their work experience. This year, 92% of employees felt it was a terrific place to work, which is 35 percentage more points than the national average. ACC has also been honored by Forbes as one of America's top 100 most trustworthy companies on 2 occasions. Let me share with you some feedbacks and reviews to the American Campus Communities. Big thanks to Jose and Austin office for helping with the issue we had. The apt complex Lubbock our daughter is going to be moving into wants to charge us an additional $250 on top of the rent we already are going to pay to move in 3 days early. As it is, we have to pay for the whole month even though we don't move her until the 24th. After getting nowhere with the complex, we called ACC and got Jose. He was able to get her in early and waived the fee. Thanks so much. Great customer service. I tried to update this before, but my account was not working. After sending a letter to headquarters, ACC contacted our daughter and told her that they will cancel the contract since it was a mistake. Thanks for doing that, we appreciate it. Edgar, the maintenance man, is not only a gentleman, but also a scholar. He has come into my apartment and exceeded my expectations here at the block at 25th West. It was brought to my attention that he is leaving this location and moving on to another. Police keep Edgar at the block at 25th West. He is the best maintenance man there is, and I couldn't imagine this place without him. I love living with ACC. The staff is always welcoming and happy to help when I need assistance. The amenities are great and well maintained, and maintenance is very fast to respond to any works I order put in. My only complaint is how expensive it's gotten. The student housing market is expanding. According to the National Multifamily Housing Council, the student housing market will grow to 9.2 million beds by 2031, up from 8.5 million in 2020. The all-cash sale is the Blackstone Real Estate Income Trust's largest student housing investment to date. The $97 billion firm, known as Bright for short, invested in the industry last year in a $784 million joint venture with Landmark Properties. Bill Bayless, American Campus Community's co-founder and CEO, said Blackstone's expertise, resources, and access to capital will allow the company to grow its core business and pursue additional opportunities. We started our pioneering mission to transform the student housing industry into a mainstream institutional asset class within the commercial real estate sector 18 years ago through our IPO, Bayless added. We are proud and excited to have our best-in-class community company join Blackstone, the world's largest alternative asset manager. Bayless came up with the idea for what would eventually become ACC as a student at West Virginia University, where he worked as a dishwasher, grill cook, night desk attendant, and a residential assistant at a campus dormitory. Bayless has stated in the past interviews that the goal is to improve housing and quality of life for college students who live on or near campuses. With 4 employees and a single management contract, Bayless co-founded American Campus in 1993 at the age of 29. According to securities filings, the company now employs 317 people at its corporate offices and 2,635 nationwide. It is headquartered in the mixed-use Hill County Galleria complex in Bee Cave. Bayless stated in an open letter to staff that the company believes going private is the best strategic move. As many of you know, the public stock markets have been fairly cyclical over the last 5 years, and our public cost of equity has been more expensive than private institutional capital at times, he remarked. We witnessed several of our private peers execute entrepreneurially in the years of acquisitions and off-campus growth during those eras, more aggressively than our cost of public equity allowed. We are also sure that becoming a Blackstone portfolio company will generate fantastic opportunities for both our corporate team at the Austin headquarters and for all of our team members in the field, Bayless said of the Blackstone purchase. That's it for this video, Real Talker. Remember to subscribe to our channel, and if you feel like we've delivered value, please share this video with one person. That's right, just one person as a token of your appreciation for the hard work we put into making content that educates and helps you on your mission of building your own fortune. Remember, you can watch video after video, but it isn't until you actually take action that you'll start to see results. See you soon!